I've moved here in 2002 and didn't really know how long I'd stay here. The town is built really up against the mountain. It's one of the few towns where you feel the mountain.
What made you realize you wanted to settle here?
I wanted at the time I wanted to do a restaurant. I wanted a town that was a good restaurant town. Wanted to have a family, and it delivered on all those things.
And why this spot for the kitchen?
Oh, we fought pretty hard to find a spot. It's very hard to get a restaurant spot in this town, and it took us about 18 months to find it, and we finally got it and wrestled it to get the deal done. And it used to be an old bookstore. Yeah, we opened in 2004, 20 years ago. So let's go inside.
So you were just saying, today's
today's his fourth anniversary.
Yeah.
The kitchen has had different chapters. And Hugo, my co-founder, he and I started the restaurant with the menu we created, and then I stepped away it's about 5 or 10 years after that, and he took over, ran it, and then in 2019, Chef Michael Bertozzi came in and took over, and the food that Michael brings it's just more interesting.
It's all, mainly it's cooking from experience. So I was fortunate, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and my dad was from Lima, Peru. So I grew up back and forth between the two. So in Peru had like a large Asian population. So there was a lot of like the Japanese Nikkei style with Peruvian cuisine. And then when I was in college, my roommate for 3 years, his family was from Istanbul. His dad was the dean of the architecture school at Auburn. And I was always at his parents' house eating Turkish food.
How would you say your background influences the menu here?
Pretty heavily. America is a melting pot. So like our cuisine has kind of like become influenced by all these different cultures and people that have moved here and immigrated here. So you may know what the protein is or what the vegetable is, but then it's twisted with some of those global flavors. So it's a little bit of a surprise for everybody.
How did you two connect in the first place?
So we were looking for a new culinary director, so someone that would run all of the restaurant's food. And we said, look, here's the restaurant, it's yours, to cook whatever you want. And whatever you want, we will just try it, and then we will tell you what we think.
So I walked into the cooler in Denver and I was like, all right, they've got some Spanish chorizo, they've got mussels, they've got some lobster stock. And I had done this dish previously, and it's basically these mussels, and like when you saute the Spanish chorizo with a little bit of onion and garlic and cook it down with oregano, you blend all of it and then saute the mussels in it, and it kind of tastes like pepperoni pizza.
And we'd never seen that before.
For me, I'm always looking for those moments that kind of make you chuckle when you take a bite. Like you'll kind of laugh. You're like, oh my gosh! Like, no, that's not
exactly
what I expected at all. That's on a different level.
The carrots in our menu, which is just I think maybe the best dish on the menu, is carrots.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what do you mean carrots? There's no way carrots are the best thing on the menu. Try the carrots.
What would you say your goal is with your restaurant group long term?
I used to have a goal of growing a large restaurant group. And we went through COVID, very difficult in the restaurant space. Many of our restaurants had to close, many of our friends' restaurants had to close. And I just had to have like a sort of inner check, like, why am I doing this? We were sitting for over a year without anyone in the restaurant, and it's just so depressing. So I really checked in. I was like, I love the gathering place. I love bringing people together. And with Chef Michael, when we were closed, we actually reinvented the menu. So I was like, okay, that brought some life, breathed some life into it for me. And so now I'm thinking more along the lines of let's go to places where I love to spend time. We're going to open a restaurant in Austin, Texas, where I spend a lot of time, and do it for a community that I know well and connect with. And so it's more just kind of like let it unfold and take one step at a time.
While obviously you never wish COVID on anybody, let alone the restaurant industry, what was the most satisfying part for you of that process?
I think it was a rediscovery of my passion for the gathering place. At that point it was maybe 15 years or 16 years of what's the real estate decision, what's the audience demographic of this area versus another. We were up to 16 restaurants at that point, and it wasn't actually what I loved. What I loved was the gathering place, the sitting down, having food together with people you love, and cook, like my book, Cooking for a Community, is really actually what I live for, and that it kind of brought me back to, hey, let's just do what I love. Let's do what we love.
How about the best part of working with Kimbal?
I think the best part about it is his excitement for this, like his love for cooking. You know, a lot of times you'll work for restaurateurs that they are just, it's the business side. It's all dollars and cents. And I think and the freedom to like be creative and work with him and like get feedback from somebody that's stood in my shoes and cooked and been in a restaurant where, you know, a lot of times you don't have that advantage when you're working with somebody else. And I think that's the great thing, is it's speaking the same language as somebody.
Yeah, I love actually when he does a new dish, and before I even taste it, I'll deconstruct it in my mind, like how would I have cooked it?
Really?
And because there'll be a description, but I'll be like, how would I have cooked it? Okay, how do I think it will taste? All right, let me taste it now. And what I love about Chef Michael is it is always a twist, and I get excited about. I wonder what it's going to be. So these are the carrots.
Okay.
Please try it and let us know what you think.
So, obviously, roasted carrots tossed in an Urfa chili oil, and then it's topped with sesame seeds, toasted pistachios, cilantro, and mint, and then whipped feta. So we temper feta till it's about room temperature, and then whip it with a little bit of heavy cream, so it gets nice and creamy and emulsified, so it doesn't have that grittiness of most fetas. And the key is to use like a very like rich, high-end feta, sheep's milk feta. So it has a little bit more creaminess to it, where if you get some of the drier fetas, it's a little bit tougher to break them down. So.
And your reaction the first time you tried that?
So I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, it's unexpected in a really good way.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone knows carrots. In fact, one of my favorite dishes to cook is literally just roasted carrots with salt and olive oil and nothing else. Literally just cook for an hour. It caramelizes it down. It's plenty of flavor. You don't need to add anything. And so for me, I'm always come as a skeptic when someone has a complicated dish for something like carrots. Like, why are we doing this? Are we trying too hard? You know, look at this, that in anything in any business, any creative process. Are we trying too hard here? And I tasted that. I was like, that is great.
Before you tried it, were you asking him that, or were you like a?
I was skeptical, but
okay.
The minute I tried it, I was like, this is an incredibly good dish.
And how much of this is new on the?
This actually just came on the menu
I've
today.
actually not even
really?
seen it. Yeah. So this is a great example of me looking at it and go, I wonder how this would taste if I were doing it. I wonder how it'll taste with him doing it.
It's like kind of a fruity olive focaccia with a little bit of marjoram, whipped butter, and sea salt. And then over top of the focaccia is a tangerine agrumato. So tangerine agrumato is basically when they cold press olives for olive oil. They're additionally putting in whole tangerines. So when they press it, it's getting that real citrusy, like forward flavor. So you get the olive oil flavor and like a pop of like tangerine to it.
I know what I'm doing. I've eaten in so many, but I've never had a tangerine zest baked into a focaccia before. So that's bolognese. So that's been on the menu since day one.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to mess with that one?
No, that's one of those ones like, don't fix it if it's not broken.
That is
like,
such
why?
a good,
why would you do that?
Good dish.
Yeah. There's certain opportunities on every menu to make it a little bit more exciting, but there's also things that people know and come to love about a restaurant.
Right.
And you don't mess with those.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, by the way, this is what I call Kimbal's Perfect Negroni.
Cheers.
So I love this. It's my favorite drink, and this is a very special recipe, very hard to get ingredients, but they're all in the book. And there's no such thing as a perfect Negroni, but this is about as good as it gets. Cheers.
Thank you.